Here we go.
Hello guys, I'm CBMF Productions and welcome to the DC Film Retrospective. Today's film is the first female superhero team-up film and R-rated film inside the DCU, whatever's left of it after Justice League, Birds of Prey. The film was first developed in 2016 after the release of Suicide Squad, with Margot Robbie's performance being the most praised aspect of that film, and Warner Bros. Trying to get a spin-off or sequel film off the ground that related to Harley Quinn, from a Harley Quinn standalone film, a stand with her and Jared Leto's Joker, a Gotham City Sirens film with Poison Ivy and Catwoman, but it eventually morphed into getting the Birds of Prey involved. Margot Robbie worked hard for 3 years to get this project made, and also convinced Warner Bros. The same as Todd Phillips did, and asking for her own vision to have to be rated R, which after Joker's success was a lot more received in the eyes of the execs. In 2018, Warner Bros. Greenlit the project, got the cast together, and got Cathy to direct. The film was shot in early 2019, and it came out nearly a year later in February 2020, fairly recent as the time of this recording. The film had generally good reviews, and was said to be a big hit, but for some reason or another, the film so far has been underperforming at the box office, only making $65 million domestic and $155 million worldwide. And it needs around $250 to $300 million to break even, at least. This could be due to the title being misleading, which we'll get to. That caused Warner Bros. To change the title to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey for all theater chains, so when people look up the movie, I guess they won't be confused, but it hasn't done much. Despite this, Margot Robbie still says to return James Gunn's Suicide Squad next year, which is rumored to be rated R as well. But does this film deserve to be underperforming the box office? Well, before we get into that, let's get into the plot. The film is set a while after Suicide Squad, where Harley Quinn and the Joker have broken up since the events of that movie. She's moved into an apartment outside of a Chinese restaurant, adopted a hyena which she names Bruce, and is still heartbroken about Joker, crying and getting drunk in a club that is owned by Roman Sionis played by Ewan McGregor, a sadistic, highly agitated gangster in Gotham. Despite this, nobody knows that Harley and Joker are broken up, so Harley is still under his protection and gets to do whatever she wants, like breaking the kneecaps of Roman's driver when he makes fun of her. Later that night, she decides as a way to move on from her ex, she steals a truck and drives it into Ace Chemicals where Joker transforms her into Harley and blows it up. Meanwhile, a GCPD officer named Montoya, played by Rosa Perez, while investigating the murder of a supposed crossbow killer, as she dubs her, who is killing gangsters across Gotham who relates to the massacre of the Burnett crime family around a decade or so ago. But before she can further figure out her case, she hears the explosion, goes to Ace Chemicals, and finds Harley's necklace on the ground. So she's thinking her and the Joker are broken up. Word about this soon spreads, and everybody Harley ever did wrong to goes after her, because she has no protection. Meanwhile, a singer at Rome's club, Dina Lance, or better known as Black Canary played by Journey Smollett-Bell, who saved Harley at the beginning of the film after she got passed out drunk the night before, and a couple guys tried getting her into their van, which ends with Canary beating up those guys, and Roman sees it happening, and wants her to be his driver, after Harley beat up the other one. She agrees and Renee gets on her tail to try and get Dina to be him over Roman, but she denies the offer, but then later works with Montoya to take Roman down. Roman's main goal is to take over Gotham City's crime rings, and to do that, he needs a large diamond to belong to the Burnelli family that inside of his structure contains the account numbers of the Burnelli's offshore fortune. So he sends Black Canary and his trusty right-hand man Victor Saws, played by Chris Messina, who does all Roman's dirty work by kidnapping Roman's enemies and peeling their faces off for his pleasure. They both get the diamond for Roman, but gets stolen by pickpocketer Cassandra Cain, played by LJ Basco. They both try to get it from her, but she gets arrested again, because she's had a history with the GCPD that prevents Victor or Canary from getting the diamond. Roman then puts a $500K bounty on Cain, and also captures Harley. He plans to let Victor slice her face off, but she says she can get the diamond for him, so Roman decides to let Harley get it in exchange for her life. She goes to the police station where Cain is held, where she beats up all the officers with the help of a non-lethal colorful potato gun, and gets Cain out of her cell as they both are attacked by assassins after Cain's bounty, which Harley beats up accordingly. They make it back to her apartment, where they start to connect, but the owner of the restaurant below her turns them in as he gets blown up, but they escape. Harley then decides to turn Cassandra in by calling Roman and agreeing to meet up in an abandoned amusement park. Canary overhears this and notifies Montoya about the rendezvous, because she wants Harley and Cain alive, because she kidnapped with Cain when they briefly encountered each other early in the film, when Cain talked about her abusive foster parents. Montoya, who's been chasing Harley throughout the film, finds him at the park as she and Harley do get out, with Montoya being thrown out the window, but she survives. Zaz picks up the Canary called Montoya and notifies Roman that she betrayed him, so he freaks out and decides to round up his army of criminals and puts on one of the ritualistic masks in his room, giving him the name Black Mask. Zaz and Canary make it to the part to retrieve the diamond, which Cassandra swallowed earlier when she and Harley were being chased, and can't get it out of her, despite getting lasted and getting tied to a toilet by Harley. Zaz plans on slicing Cain open, but is killed by the crossbow killer who's renamed to Lena Bertinelli, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is the daughter of the crime family that was killed for the diamond and left as a sole survivor by pretending to play dead, as one of the henchmen who knew she was faking it left her alive and brought her to be raised in his place, being trained over the years as an assassin, and some pretty big social and anger issues from being isolated all those years. Her main goal is to kill all the men responsible for her family's death, Zaz being the last loose end. All 5 of the ladies are trapped in the park with Black Manta and his army trapping them in the area, so all of them decide to work together to get through the scenario alive, using Harley's weapons. The ladies start beating up and killing all of Roman's men, with it also being revealed that Canary's voice is super powerful, that can cause supersonic waves that knock people off their feet. Harley chases after Black Manta with the help of some roller skates, where he takes Kane and they make it to the dock, where Roman holds Cassandra hostage. But she and Cassandra manage to outsmart him by Kane grabbing a grenade from Harley's weapon chest, pulls the pin, and slips it into Roman's pocket, as Harley throws him off the dock as it explodes, killing him. After Roman's criminal empire is destroyed, Montoya quits the GCPD after receiving no credit for stopping a massive criminal empire, which isn't the first time this happened to her. She decides to make her own team, as Canary and Huntress, which is Elena's new superhero name, decide to call themselves the Birds of Prey, as Cassandra becomes Harley's protege, as they drop it together with Bruce and the Diamond, as they eat egg and cheese sandwiches together, as credits roll to an audio stinger, where Harley is about to tell a big secret about Batman, but gets cut off as the film cuts to black. This film's a lot better than I expected it to be. I was never sold on the idea of a standalone Harley film, which this basically is, and the trailers didn't try to hide that, which were awful by the way, and my bet is the reason why most people haven't went to go see it, because they didn't do the film justice or give any sort of plot. Because of that, I was skeptical walking into the movie, and I watched it pretty surprised and happy. The film's a blast from beginning to end, and it doesn't stop throughout the course of its hour and 45-minute runtime. It gives you a rush of being this high-octane chase action movie. Speaking of, the action in this movie is absolutely fantastic. The same people that did the choreography of the John Wick movies worked on this and it shows. Every action scene is unique and incredibly entertaining. Seeing Harley be with guys in various ways, because of how flexible she is, and how creatively she uses objects, especially during the whole police station scene, from Harley using a metal bat, a potato gun with colorful explosives, and her using cocaine bags to her goons, while also being on cocaine herself. It's so unhinged over the top, and it's the biggest reason why I'm glad it's got an R. The acting style from everybody. Margot Robbie gets to do whatever she wants, and does really well here, and playing well with the rest of the cast. Hugh McGregor is fantastic as a villain, and like Robbie, gets to do whatever he wants, and every scene he's in is a riot, and shoots up the scenery extremely well. The rest of the cast each gives something unique to their characters, from Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Journey Scott Bell, Rosie Perez, Chris Messina, and more that packed the film full of personality, along with the writing that has a lot of good one-liners, and brings the film's momentum. The comedy mostly hits with a lot of good visual and written jokes. The actors have good chemistry with one another, especially Robbie and Basco, who have a lot of good scenes where they play dialogue with one another. The Robbie does basically with the whole cast. The production design as well, with the variety of costumes that Harley Quinn wears all stand out, along with the other outfits, along with the sets, which has got them looks pretty grimy and also colorful, very Tim Burton-esque. The best example of this is the end with the abandoned amusement park, which looked really cool. The soundtrack, like Shazam, fits with the film for the most part. There are some cool Easter eggs and references, and the directing is good. The emphasizes all the tones the script and the actors give off, and brings the film together. It's a roller coaster ride of a movie. This film isn't the Birds of Prey movie. It's a Harley film mostly. That isn't a bad thing per se, but she does undermine the team as a whole, because a lot of them don't get much to do, because they get overshadowed by Harley Quinn, who was already in the film before this. The team dynamic doesn't come into play till the very end, and it doesn't feel supernatural how these characters come into contact with one another, which is a smaller issue of a bigger issue, which is the broken Quentin Tarantino, Guy Ritchie, Deadpool style storytelling, with the film jumping between storylines, that felt very jarring and uneven at points. The film tries to be like Deadpool with Harley looking at the camera and winking, that like other DC films, it takes a little too much from other movies. The action is great, but I feel like most of the Birds of Prey had the same style of fighting, and during the big fight scene at the end, I felt like it was just a lot of kicking, apart from Harley in her roller skates and mallet, and Huntress with her crossbow, which Huntress is easily the weakest member in my opinion, because she felt so out of place with the rest of the film, and her character really isn't that interesting, beyond delivering some funny lines for the team, because of Winstead's performance. There were some random side guys I found were funny, me with the egg sandwich, and lastly, I felt Black Manta had a good arc, but ends way too abrupt, with him fairly being absent in the second act, to focus on our main characters, and then puts on a mask, gets an army of endless goons, and then gets blown up on a dock. I wish he had that better into his character, because how much of a person he was in the first half. Overall, Birds of Prey is a really fun and funny action film that has a lot of good acting, a lot of style that works, well put together from all the technical aspects, a catchy soundtrack, fun banter between the characters, eccentric villains, fast pace, great production design, and just being entertaining. There are some issues hardly taken away from other characters, and the title being misleading. Even Warner Bros. Know about that. Taking a lot from Deadpool, Tarantino, Guy Ritchie, Crank, and a lot of other films in its broken story structure, that was hard to follow at points. Some character arcs being lackluster, some unfunny comedy, and some other minor issues. But as a whole, I really enjoyed it and it was a lot better than the marketing made it out to be. And it's probably my favorite DCEU film, tied with Shazam, because of how much of a blast it is, and it leaves Harley on a better note than Suicide Squad did. I give Birds of Prey a B+, an 8.5 out of 10, and a rent-on recommendation. So that's Birds of Prey. What do you guys think about it? Leave your thoughts down in the comments, and please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. I'm CBMF Productions, and this is not a DC Fund review, because justice needs to be served.